So when you make white wine, you squeeze the grapes, you get juice on the bottom, you ferment the juice, and you discard the grapes, the seeds, and the skin, etc. So you just press out. And you can make white wine out of red grapes as long as you squeeze it out fast enough and so on. There's no contact with the skin. That's where the color is. So that's very easy winemaking. When it comes to red wine, you got to extract the color, you got to extract the structure, the tannins from the skin, and so you have to put the juice and the skin in contact for a certain amount of time. So depending on the quality of the wines that we make for Pinot Noir, so red wine for us is Pinot Noir. You use different size tank and you use different methodology of extraction. So most of us in the morning, if you think about how you make coffee, you use a percolating machine, you put grind on top, you percolate water through the coffee, you get coffee on the bottom. That's what would be called the pump over. So that would be the larger tank that we walked by, and those, for a sense of scale, would fit about 40 tons or about 10 acres or more, 10 to 12 acres of vineyard goes into one tank. And then we would extract the color, the structure, just by a pumping over. So we would do that 2 to 3 times a day for about 8 to 10 days, maybe a little bit longer, depending on what we want to extract. So we taste those wines every day. Now, coming to the high-end wines that we talked about a little earlier, most of them would go into this very small fermenter here, which is 2.5 to 3 tons, and that's 1 acre of vineyard. So 12 acres, 1 acre in here. And then the handling, we have the capacity of doing a lot of different things. So we can do the traditional stumping of the grapes. You've all seen people stumping grapes. Well, we don't stump anymore, but we use little plungers, and so we will plunge the cap, because essentially what happens when the fermentation starts, you got the solids on top, the skins, and you got the liquid on the bottom, and you got to put the solids in touch with the liquid. So you can plunge them down, or you can pump them over the same way we do this, or we can do what we call délestage, where you remove all the juice and you just splash it on top. So anyway, this tank is much smaller, and it gives us much more ability to change how we extract. So it's that's the qualitative notion there. You got everything. You have the ability to use different techniques on the winemaking here. So all those tanks here on this side are all what called open top fermenters. You can see the flat on top. So when we ferment, you can see the skin, it's completely open. And we have punch down devices on the rail. So they're just mechanically being punched down, or they're being pumped over, etc. So, but this aisle is all the high-end winemaking. So we have all open tops, so there'll be smaller volumes. So this is 5 tons, 10 tons, 12. So a variety of size of tanks that accommodate different acreages of high-end wine, but all open top fermenters. So you've got the ability to do the best winemaking possible. And then what I like to call the high velocity winemaking was the red wine back there, which is what I described, 40 tons at a time, a little bit more velocity to the process. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So again, that gives us the ability to produce a wine that is being sold at $100 a bottle or $20 a bottle. 20 would be produced over there. The $100 would come out of this tank here.
This just has to do with quantities, right?
Well, the quality of what we do,
yeah.
But of course quantity, because you can handle the fruit so differently.
Yeah, how you're managing the fermentation, the temperature, all of those subtle aspects you can do on a scale. But again, when you look at these dollar per bottle differences, keep in mind, like, this takes up almost the same real estate square footage. It's those things, right? And so it is more expensive to make this kind of wine for a lot. Labor's more expensive, infrastructure's more expensive. So it's not all marketing.
Right. Well, it's that 1 acre parcel that we've isolated, that we determined it's going to be better than the rest of what we do. Exactly.
But this is